Our bodies are meant to move. If our daily life is a routine, we're doing the same thing every day at the same time, we are going to create imbalances within our physical body. Today we're going to discuss what happens when our patterns and habits create knots in our muscle tissue and what to do about it when it starts to create pain in the body. Hello my beautiful friends, my name is Carrie Cox. Welcome to my channel, where we learn how to use our personal power to build a connection between mind, body, and spirit. Today I want to discuss a topic that's near and dear to my heart. It's what I have built my entire practice around, and it's the first aspect of mind, body, spirit I started to learn about. I am a movement and muscle therapist, and I use a very specialized trigger point therapy called Bonnie Pruden myotherapy to help alleviate muscle pain and dysfunction in my clients. So stay with me in this video as we learn about what a trigger point is, how we get them, and how we get rid of them. And if you know somebody who suffers with chronic pain, then please share this video with them. If you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and smash that bell notification button. So trigger points can be to blame for all kinds of chronic and acute pain in the body. A trigger point is just simply put a knot in the muscle tissue. It is a hyper irritable spot within the muscle that creates pain and tenderness when applying pressure to it. Trigger points can cause pain in the body, it can limit our range of motion, it can decrease circulation, affect our nervous system, and start to weaken the affected muscles. So how do we get trigger points? Well, we start accumulating trigger points from the moment we're born. And most of the time, trigger points aren't really causing us a whole lot of pain or issues. We start collecting them through our birthing process, through the sports we play, our accidents, our injuries, any repetitive motion. So that could be the repetitive motions we're doing in our job, if we're sitting all day standing, if we're working on a computer and typing or using a mouse and clicking a mouse all day. These repetitive motions will cause trigger points. Trigger points can also be brought on by being overactive or underactive. So really, when we sum it all up, trigger points are caused from our habits. It's the things that we're doing. We have to continue to move our body in all different ways, in all different directions. If you observe a child when they're playing and they're climbing on things, and the way they squat to the ground, the way they move their body is so different than we move it as adults. We stop moving our body the way we did as kids, and that causes problems. So we really want to start moving our body like we were meant to move. When you stop doing a movement, muscles are getting short and tight. So why do these muscle knots cause us pain? How do they cause us pain? If it's just a knot that's shortening the muscle, why is it that one day we go to bed feeling fine and the next day we wake up and we have all this pain that we don't even know where it came from, and then it doesn't go away? Well, when we go under any kind of emotional or physical stress, those trigger points can light up. And when they light up, it can cause all kinds of problems in the body. What do we do about it? How do we get rid of it? Well, that's where someone like me comes in. If they are a practitioner that works with muscles, or you specialize with trigger point therapy, you would perform the therapy on someone to diffuse the trigger points. When trigger points start creating pain in the body, it can start to create pain such as headaches, migraines, TMJ, neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain, sciatica, tennis elbow, fibromyalgia, shin splints, plantar fasciitis. All of these things can be coming from a trigger point. Whenever I can press on a trigger point in someone's body and recreate the pain that they're typically feeling, then we know that trigger point is what is radiating to create this pain. Janet Travell, who discovered trigger points back in like the 1940s, has mapped out like a mapping of common places that certain trigger points in the body refer. So I use a modality called Bonnie Pruden myotherapy, where I use my elbows, fingers, and knuckles to apply pressure into the muscle, working in certain patterns to diffuse the trigger points. So I take a detailed health history of each of my patients so that I can get an understanding of what are the repetitive things they've done in their life. What kind of accidents and injuries have they had? What have they done for a living all of their life? They may be 40 years old. I still want to know, what sports did you play when you were 10? because that was putting trigger points in. If you broke your arm when you were 5, I want to know that. So I'm going to look at a whole entire history of the person to be able to see where do I want to go hunting for trigger points. And we're going to work muscles, and the muscles that attach to those muscles, we want to diffuse the trigger points. Then we want to put these muscles on a stretch, put them through their natural range of motion to show that muscle what that muscle's supposed to do and show it what its normal resting length is supposed to be. Then I'm going to send my patients home with corrective exercises that they're going to use to repattern those muscles, because muscle has memory. And once a muscle has been short and tight for a long period of time, that muscle remembers being short and tight. So that's why when we go and we get a massage and we feel really good for a day, and then all of a sudden that muscle starts to tighten back up and that pain starts to creep back in, well, that's because muscle has memory. And so it's tightening back up. So I have people do corrective exercises so that after I take the trigger points out, they can now repattern that muscle to stay at its natural resting length instead of tightening back up. Now, if you don't have somebody like me that you can go see, then there are ways that in tools on the market that you can work these trigger points yourself at home. So when you apply pressure into a muscle and you feel a sensation that feels like you're pressing on a bruise, then that's a trigger point. If that bruise sensation is then either being felt in other parts of the body or moving up or down from that trigger point or away from that trigger point, then that's a trigger point that's referring pain away from that area of the body. You definitely want to diffuse that trigger point. We can do this using myofascial release tools such as foam rollers and trigger point balls. I use a vibration therapy gun on my patients in my practice. You can buy one of those and use them at home. There is tons and tons of videos out there on YouTube on how to do self-myofascial release. And I'm going to be sharing and making more videos with you guys on how to do some of that at home yourself. Now, releasing the trigger point is only part of the equation. You also then have to repattern that muscle. So eventually on my channel, you're going to find a playlist that's going to be all of my corrective exercises. You are going to want to do these corrective exercises once you take your trigger points out. I hope that you have a better understanding of what a trigger point is and how it can start to cause pain in your body and what to do about it when you start experiencing pain that you're unsure of. Please hit the like button below and join me next time. Namaste.